How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today's topic is about when you quit in alcohol, when you're trying to get rid of any habit, when you're trying to build any habit, your body can almost put up with so much, right? A lot more than you give it credit for. It's your mind that you've got to convince. It's your mind that you've got to convince how capable your body is of doing these things, right? When people look at their body and their mind, they often look at the two things like they're separate things, like that your body is a separate thing from your mind. In these two, it's the same thing. Your body and your mind are the same sort of system. In this video, we're going to look at emotions and how they all come from the mind. They all start in the mind. We're going to look at the brain and pain, and how, not just from the aspect of physical pain, but from the pain, certain pain that we feel from discomfort. And finally, we're going to look at, a few different techniques that you can use to overcome the discomfort that you're feeling in your body, to overcome pain that you're feeling in your body. Emotions and feelings, these are all things that originate in the mind, right? You can't feel anything. You can't feel an emotion, you can't feel a physical feeling without it emanating from your mind. It all starts upstairs. It's exactly the same thing with pain and the brain, right? Without your brain, your body can't feel any pain, right? So your body needs the brain to feel pain. It's the same with discomfort when you quit an alcohol. It's exactly the same type of thing. When you're feeling discomfort, it's a physical feeling that you're getting because your brain wants to feel like that. That's the way your brain is working at that moment, right? Physical pain, right? There's been cases where people have had horrific battlefield injuries, right? But because they've needed to survive and because they needed to get out of there, they haven't felt the injury. The brain has shut off the injury somehow, whatever way that works. There's a theory called pain gate theory, which says that there are certain chemical gating systems within your body, right? So a chemical will come in and shut off another chemical. So a chemical has to, in order for the pain to get from the side of the injury up to your brain, it's got to go through various different channels, right? And a lot of different chemical reactions have got to be set off. And these chemical reactions sort of start this chain reaction down the nerves. And there's a certain point at that nerve where other chemicals can interfere. So chemicals that are either sent down through your brain, there's other chemicals that can be sent down through rubbing. There's a thing called touch neurons, which they've discovered that, when the first thing that we do when you bruise your ankle, say for instance, or you bruise your toe, is you start rubbing the site of the bruise, and it immediately eases the pain. And that's called a touch neuron in action. And what that's doing is it's interfering with the actual pain signals getting to your brain. And it's the same thing with pain gate theory. I think it's pain gate theory. It's a chemical neurotransmitter that's interfering with the other neurotransmitters that are trying to send signals of pain to your brain, and it cuts off the signals of pain. It's basically how anesthetics work. They stick the needle in at a certain point, and the local anesthetic, and that stops the signals of pain being sent to your brain. There was a guy called Henry Beecher who did a lot of work with soldiers coming back from the Second World War, and he put out a paper in 1956, and he was talking about the way people felt pain, that it didn't depend on the pain itself, but it depended on the mind. He said that there's no dependable relationship between the extent of the pathological feeling of pain and the pain that is experienced. So the intensity of suffering is determined by what the pain means to the patient, right? So that's exactly the same thing that we're having here with any of the discomfort that you go through when you quit and drinking alcohol is caused because of how it means to you. That's why I'm saying to you, a lot of the words matter that you use for yourself. The stuff like withdrawal symptoms. A lot of people are obsessed with what withdrawal symptoms am I going to have, Am I going to have withdrawal symptoms? Am I going to go, how long am I going to stay sober? Am I an alcoholic? These are all words which have an individual meaning to each person, right? And they come with a lot of different meanings already attached to them. And these can change the way that you feel. It's just like a placebo. It has sort of a placebo effect on you. So the emotional pain that you're feeling, the suffering that you're feeling, the discomfort that you're feeling, whatever it is all going to be altered upstairs in your own mind by what it means to you, what that individual thing means to you. And you can crank up the volume of the emotions, the suffering, or the discomfort, or you can crank it back down again by using your mind, by using certain techniques. There's an awful lot of techniques that you can use to do this. One way of overcoming the attachment that we have to the words is to focus on the sensations themselves, right? Forget about the words, but focus on the actual feelings. What are you feeling? A lot of the time we concentrate on the words, and the words exacerbate the sensation. But if you forget about the words and just concentrate on exactly what it is that you're feeling at that moment, when you're saying you've got a craving, what does that mean? When you're feeling uncomfortable, what does that mean? What is it that you're actually feeling inside yourself? And oftentimes when you concentrate on the sensation itself, you realize that the sensation is only a sensation. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing in it that is dangerous. There's nothing in it that is going to cause you harm. The only thing is that you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you're not used to it, right? Because you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that's all there is to it. And it's once you understand that this is only discomfort, that it's not going to do anything to you, that it's not going to kill you, it's not going to harm you, that it's actually benefiting you, that this discomfort is to your benefit, it's only then that you start to think, well, this is not such a bad thing after all, Might be a bit of discomfort, but it's going to go, it's going to disappear. I just let it ride away in it, like there's surfing the urge. That's what one of the best terms out there is. It's like getting on a surfboard and surfing the urge, and then the urge is going to disappear. Best way of looking at it. Another way to do this is just to move your attention, to shift your focus to something else. Many times when people get cravings or they feel uncomfortable, they're feeling this way because they are focusing their energies on the craving, right? On the word, on the feeling, on the whole experience of it, right? Instead of focusing in on the sensation, they're focusing in on what they're missing out on, right? That they could just go down to the off license now and get a few beers and the whole thing would be gone. But it doesn't gone, it's just replaced by another thing, which is disappointment or regret or some other fucking negative emotion that you don't want in your life, By pushing through the sensations, right? You get satisfaction, You get that feeling of, I'm going to pat myself on the back now, You get self-belief, you get self-confidence, and you start building the things that you want to build in your life, the areas that you want to go in your life. Sorry, I'm getting flies all over me, and I've got this fly stick, but it's just difficult to sort of wave it around. So really it's to try and focus on something else, to shift your attention away from what you're doing onto something else. If that means taking a walk, changing your room, changing the atmosphere around you, changing what you're thinking about, putting on some music, whatever you can do to shift the focus away from the craving or the discomfort, that's the best thing to do. Whatever you can do to shift the focus away from the actual craving or the feelings or the thoughts that you're going through. Like I say, the cravings are nothing. The cravings are just feelings, they're just sensations that, at the end of the day, they're not going to harm you, they're not going to kill you, they're not going to do anything to you. So what you're focusing your mind away from is how you're thinking about it. You're changing your thoughts, You're focusing your attention elsewhere in order to stop thinking about it, you know. And it's a technique that works for a lot of people. It's a technique that works in lots of different situations. Another trick is to visualize, you know, visualize yourself in 10 or 15 minutes, what you're going to be doing in 10 or 15 minutes, you know. Visualize that. Visualize yourself sitting on a nice beach somewhere with the waves rolling in, you know, the nice sea breeze coming in. You've got a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice sitting beside you with a straw sticking out of it. You've got a nice sun umbrella over your head and you're at peace. Sit down and do that. It's a technique to avoid things. It's a technique to put yourself into a different frame of mind. And that's basically what it all boils down to. As I say, this is all just a sensation. And no matter what way you look at this, that's what it boils down to, is you changing the actual thinking about the sensation. Whatever way you can do that, that's the best way of doing it. So look, I'm going to leave it here. I'm being buzzed by flies all over the place and it's just ruining my concentration. So if you have any questions at all, leave them down below. If you want to sign up for the Alcohol Mastery starter pack, you can come on over to the website. There's a sign up box there. Just put your first name and your email address into it and I'll send it out to you straight away. There's a couple of video courses, a couple of books that are going to help you on your onwards journey. So until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Take care of yourself. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Onwards and upwards. Take care. Bye now.